Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's nice to see you all. It's been a while, I know.
It's been, I'll bet.
We hit 10,000 subscribers last week, which is really, really exciting. So thank you all. You guys are the reason we're here. You're the reason we're still doing this. When we started, April 2018? 2018?
Yeah, that's right.
April 2018. I was genuinely expecting this to last 2 months.
And now we're living that ancient Near Eastern life. Whoop whoop.
Yeah, so it's...
I'm Digital Hammurabi, Joshua Bowen. Oh, sorry. Look, something.
A thing. I was just going to say it's really exciting that there are so many people who are interested in the ancient Near East, in the context of the Bible, in the mythology that we study, and I am really excited that you've all decided to join us. So this is Dr. Joshua Bowen. I am Megan Lewis. We are dressed up. We have beverages. Cheers.
Cheers.
To celebrate. And yeah, we're very happy, very excited. If you haven't joined us for a while, mainly because we haven't been here, you will notice we are in a new room, which is exciting because it means that we finally moved house. Josh, bless him, moved all of our stuff while I was in the UK with my family and the children. So huge thank you to Josh and to my father-in-law for loading all of our stuff up on a trailer and driving it over here.
Couldn't have just let it be me, all right? And the guys that he hired.
Well, it was his trailer, and you know.
But
So,
I'm
yes.
really strong.
He is really strong. We're in our new house, which means we have a dedicated streaming and recording room, which is far enough away from the baby so that we can do this and we're not going to wake him up, which is an exciting thing for me as a parent. Yeah. Hi. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and tag me at Digital Hammurabi. We will try and get to them. Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. So I don't know, it's a very exciting time. And 10,000 subscribers. That's definitely didn't anticipate that.
No.
So thank you all very, very much, because it really is about you. It's funny, as Megan was saying, you know, the idea when we started this of people actually being interested in the ancient world. I'm still blown away every time I see them at the popularity of the Sumerian grammar video series. It is the #1 viewed video on our channel, I think. I haven't looked at it.
It was the last time I checked.
So that's really incredible. Oliver's not quite talking yet.
We had a very exciting time. The last live stream, he said hi, which was his actual first word, and there's been pretty much nothing. Since. He says cheese. Sounds like chiz. He also says cheers.
Oh.
When you're plinking glasses.
And he says da.
And he says everything is da.
Everything.
So if by is he talking, do you mean is he saying da a lot? Then yes.
Yes, he's quite fluent in that.
He is very, very. He's got a decent range of baby sign though, which is actually very helpful.
Sorry, I saw a question came up by Cadaver Splatter. When is the earliest text you've been exposed to that had fractions?
I've actually done no mathematic texts ever. So
I had some in my corpus, quite a few actually, for my dissertation. And actually, you can see if you go to digitalhammurabi.com, you can download my dissertation. digitalhammurabi.com, download dissertation. It's dope. I can't think of any more D words. Sorry. That was weird. But in the back, I have a long catalog of all of the cuneiform tablets that were the study of my investigation from the early 2nd millennium city of Kish. It's near Baghdad. So yeah, there are a lot of mathematical tablets there. So I list them out.
What dates?
Yeah. So,
roughly.
18th century BCE. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to nail it down any further. When Dijuniak excavated at the site, if you think about excavations today, it's when I was out in Syria, for example, it was you stay in a particular 2 meter by 2 meter square, and you go down very carefully, and you record all your objects that you find, any significant objects, and you bag all the pottery from that particular 2 meter by 2 meter by 20 centimeter square, and you keep detailed records. You draw out all the squares.
19th century excavations were not like that.
No,
even a little bit.
Dijuniak, which would have been in, let's see, I guess he would have been 19. It's 1912, maybe 19. It's somewhere in the early 20th century. But when he excavated, he drew a map, and it's a very far away map, and you see like the ziggurat on the site. It's about that big on the map, and then over here there's he did like a shaded area, and he said the tablets came from here, sort of, over here.
Yay!
So we don't really know exactly their provenience.
The
British did a much better job in 24. I think it was 25. Langton and Waldline, I think, they did a 5 meter by 5 meter by length of the trench. I mean, length of the tell trench. So this is like trench C. This stuff came from that trench, 5 meters by 5 meters by the length of the tell.
Yeah. Archaeology's come a long, long way since then,
yes.
For which we are very grateful. So Cadaver Splatter is going into a little bit of detail about the fractions thing. He said he was going through some economic tablets and was impacted by the 1/3 Shoshana, which is Akkadian, and then says, but 1/2 is Zipar, which is Sumerian, I presume.
I mean, mathematics in Sumerian or Akkadian, just from the period or from that region, is incredibly. It can be incredibly complicated. At least it seems that way for somebody like me. So Eleanor Robeson has written extensively on this. Also, Ogama, I think, did a joint paper. Anyway, but yeah, Eleanor Robeson is probably somebody to check out, and she's an amazing person. Just as a on a personal note, she came over and did some she was a visiting, I guess like a visiting scholar or something, over at Hopkins when I was there, and she's just a really sweet person, but very brilliant.
But she sounds awesome.
Yeah.
She's at Oxford?
That sounds right.
I think she's at Oxford because she works with Moody, I think.
Now, if Caleb were here, Caleb would be able to tell you not only where she is,
where she did her PhD, her master's, her undergraduate, and possibly where she was born.
Yeah, and her favorite kindergarten subject.
Yep.
He would know that.
Yep. So Crazy Frog says academia is basically just a bunch of random guesses. I'm sorry if we've given you that impression. That is not true.
I guess it's not.
No, it's definitely not true. Early archaeological practice was less scientific than we may have liked, mainly because archaeology was a very young field.
Yeah.
It takes a while for academics, for professionals to kind of get together best practice, and everything is still improving and evolving. And the techniques that we're using at the moment that we're really proud of, that we think are very precise, in the next 20 years will probably be obsolete. It's how it goes. And random guesses, definitely no. Some educated guesses, yes, based on the evidence we have, based on well thought through, well debated, well researched theories, but definitely not random.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not. Federico Mandorino, says that we are great. Thank you. We try. He studies she studies archaeology in Florence, and wanted to ask, what do we think about the Anunnaki, etc. And apparently you can't hear me. Sorry, I don't speak as loudly as Josh. Wants to know what we think of the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are gods. They are not aliens. If they are aliens, I will be incredibly surprised and shocked. There is no evidence that they are aliens. There is plenty of evidence that they were considered to be gods, who created the world, who ruled over the natural elements. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll leave that to you.
And it depends on the period that you're talking about. I think there's actually development that you'll see in some of the earlier texts. You know, when you see their development coming down into the first millennium, actually, I think it'd be interesting to do a study actually on the Anunnaki. The Anuna gods is who we're talking about.
We should say, like, the word Anunnaki seems to be an Akkadian misreading of a collection of Sumerian words, a phrase meaning what, gods of heaven and earth?
Yeah, so
maybe we're not 100%.
Well, I mean, Anuna, the Anuna gods, is seed in Sumerian, and then Nun would be like princely. So the ones of princely seed. But if you take my Sumerian course, and the book is almost done.
So actually ignore everything I just said about the Anunnaki, because that was wrong.
No, it sounds like it, because An means heaven, Ki means earth. But this is Anun, Na. So probably Nun, again, princely or whatever, royal, I don't know. But so when you want to say of, so the house of the king, you would put Ak, the Ak sound, at the end. Now it's more complicated than that.
But right now that's what we need to know.
Right now that's what we need to know. So that K, that AK sound, AK sound. Then, so that would be, so if you wanted to say, giving a grammar lesson here without, but anyway, so that's where that K comes from, the ones of the princely seed, Anunnak. Then there can be an E, like the letter E, at the end of a word, or at the end of a phrase, or end of a sentence, or a phrase. And that's right. So you see what Cadaver Spider just wrote there in the side chat. That's good. So the Kef 4 there is showing the genitive, the word of, and then it's showing the ergative. Sorry. So the ergative is, it makes it the agent in the sentence, or the subject might be a fun way to think about it. But nonetheless, so Anunnake, the ones of the princely seed,
then becomes misunderstood in
Anunnake,
later periods.
Anunnake. Now, see, the thing about Akkadian is when you have an E, that long I sound at the end, it can be a plural sound for like a genitive. Anyway, so the point is that it looks like it. I'd like to do some more work into it, but it looks like it might be just a misunderstanding of the Sumerian.
We should just do a video on what Anunnaki means.
Yeah. That
would be probably our second most viewed video. And we'd get all the comments, people telling us that we're wrong and that they're definitely aliens, because Sitchin said so.
Yeah, I get a lot of comments that I'm wrong and that I don't know what I'm talking about. Particularly, in fact, it seems like the more expertise I have in a particular topic, the more I'm told I'm wrong about it. I mean,
you are.
It might be.
Let's be fair.
Yeah. It might have something to do with I talk about things that I feel like I have more of an expertise in, so that's the correlation. So
Cadaver Splatter, I'm not going to be able to answer this question, but I'm going to read it out because it is an interesting question. Why do you think the association of the Anunnaki shifted from the heavenly gods originally, then to the underworld in later periods?
Yeah,
so in the neo-Assyrian descent of Ishtar, they're in the underworld.
Yeah, this is something we should probably just do a video on. And Cadaver Spotter probably knows all about this already, so this probably wouldn't be good for them. But if anybody wants a good introduction to all things Mesopotamian when it comes to religion or things like mythology or demonology, whatever, Jeremy Black and what's Green's first name? I don't remember. Black and Green have a dictionary of, I don't remember the title.
Gods, Demons, and Symbols of Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. That's actually available to download online. I'll put a link in the description.
Yeah.
So we have another question from Frederico saying we should do more videos on the Anunnaki. What do you think of the most famous Sumerian writer, Zecharia Sitchin? He's really convincing. I have to say, I think very little of him. I've only read his first book. The following 11 could be fantastic.
You're very generous.
Well, I don't think they're fantastic. I suspect they're more of the same. We did a video about this, and we should do a shorter video, kind of condensing our information and what we think. As two people who have spent considerable time in grad school learning Sumerian from experts who have spent their careers researching the Sumerian language, Zecharia Sitchin either did not know Sumerian,
or hid it very, very well.
Or hid it very, very well, because the linguistic evidence he provides is incorrect. Or, maybe he thought that he knew it, and Sumerian studies have just come along so far that we've been able to since prove him just hands down wrong. His linguistic evidence is incorrect. Just that there really isn't any debate on that matter. He doesn't understand Sumerian grammar.
Scary wrong.
Yeah, he doesn't understand Sumerian grammar. He doesn't understand how words are used. And he, most tellingly for me, doesn't give references for the tablets and for the mythology that he's citing. Which tells me that he knew what he was saying was incorrect, and he didn't want people to be able to prove him wrong.
Or didn't know how to cite these texts. That's also...
that is true, but he could have at least given museum numbers.
Maybe he didn't know about museum numbers.
Maybe he didn't know about museum numbers.
I don't know what a museum number is.
The thing is, what he does a lot of the time, he says, a tablet says this. He doesn't tell you what the tablet is. He doesn't tell you where it is. He doesn't give you any way of actually following up and tracking down his references. So I don't think very highly of Mr. Sitchin. He's very well loved, and his books are imaginative and engaging, but completely fiction.
Yeah.
There we go. We have some more questions. I have to work out how to...
By the way, what do you think of our amazing formal outfits?
I know, we look so good.
I'm telling you, like when I dress up, that's what I do. I go all out. It's too hot in here to wear the coat, but and Megan made this dress by hand.
I did. All right.
And by sewing machine.
I didn't like hand stitch it. That was... Sorry. Speaking of all things Mesopotamian, when are you guys going to go full Tamian? I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Sorry, I don't know, because I don't know what that is. Lots of people saying congratulations. Thank you, everybody.
I kind of want to talk for a second, if we could, about what's kind of happened with the channel recently, and maybe the direction that it's going to go. So for those of you that are in the community and that see me some of the other places that I go, you see me on Skylar Fiction's channel all the time. By the way, if you haven't subbed to Skylar's channel, Skylar Fiction Show is well, obviously I like it a lot, but it's a great show, so I would go subscribe to him.
I'm going to break in here, sorry. People saying we look lovely. Also, people are disappointed that you are not in a tux, which is disappointing, but we actually don't have a tux. He has a suit, and like it's kind of hot to wear a suit jacket.
I feel like a tuxedo would be very expensive.
That's true.
He doesn't have lots of money.
Maybe we might find the one in Goodwill.
Yeah, we can find a tux at Goodwill.
If we find a tux at Goodwill, we will have him wear it.
But let me tell you, I take dressing up very seriously. Okay, very seriously. What was I saying?
Skylar.
Yes. So, you see that we haven't been putting out a lot of videos on our channel, yet I seem to go on Skylar's channel an awful lot.
We have 3 children, and they weren't at school over the summer.
So there are a couple of factors. Some of you might be thinking, well, Josh, if you have time to go on Skylar's channel, why can't you produce some stuff on yours? It's a good question. I think that's a fair critique. We haven't received that critique, but
We're
I've
just
given
like-
it to myself just now.
We're very self-critical people.
Yes. So to kind of put this in perspective, I'm, as strange as this might sound, I'm fairly introverted. And it's very stressful for me to run a show. If you've watched Skylar's channel and there has come a moment where he has dropped out and it's just left me there to run the show for a minute or two, you can
will see an expression of abject panic.
And there's that. I got. So
Actually, there was one show where Josh accidentally kicked Skylar at the end.
So Zoom is very complicated.
And No Name is right. That Skylar and Josh are soulmates. It is.
Yes, no question.
I'm comfortable with that.
But it's very relaxing for me to go on to Skylar's channel. Number one, it's a way that I can utilize my expertise a little on the fly. There's not a lot of pressure, generally speaking, for me to have something prepared and have to really think through all the different bits and bobs. Can I say that?
Bits and bobs. You
Bits
can
and bobs.
say bits and bobs.
So it's actually very relaxing for me to do that. So not that that's an excuse, but that's the reason, I suppose, that I can go on there and it's easier for me to go on there, and it's kind of relaxing to do so. That being said, I do have a really cool series that I'm getting ready to. I guess we've talked about. Megan was in the UK. We just moved, so it's sort of been difficult to do things.
Yeah. The summers are going to be challenging, especially with having the children at home. I'm responsible for 90% of our video editing, and editing videos with children in the house is doesn't really work very well. So summers are going to be a little bit quiet, but they're going back to school next week. We have videos planned. We have a whole bunch of interviews lined up, which we'll go into in a little bit. But things are going to start picking up again, and I greatly appreciate your patience during the summer.
So maybe I'll talk about my series that's coming up, and then you can talk about the stuff that's coming up. Mm-hmm. Let me go get my book. Hang on a second.
And LT Galloway makes an excellent point that keeping one's mental health intact while doing this kind of work is actually quite important and quite difficult, and it's very easy to get burnt out. So taking a break every so often is important.
Indeed.
And finally, someone is asking how old the children are. They are 19 months, 6 years, and 12 years. Oliver is 19 months, obviously not going to school, but I can work during his nap times. Getting the 6-year-old and the 12-year-old to take naps is more tricky.
Indeed.
So, your series.
So,
and can I just say, I'm a big fan of your shorts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like he says, we take dressing up very seriously.
Very seriously. I'm such a dork. I was thinking, what could I do that would be funny? Was it funny?
I mean, I think it's funny.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I think that kind of fell flat.
That's all good.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, a lot of questions have come up. Now the comments are starting to come in. So over the past couple of months, I have received a number of comments or questions.
Sorry. There's a question and I have to answer it right now.
Sure.
Because if I don't, I'll forget it. So SlamRN says, is the aim of your channel mostly a polemic against Christians? No, not even a little bit.
Digital Hammurabi, why do you hate the Bible?
We don't.
Oh.
So I am still a Christian, believe it or not. No, the aim of our channel is to educate people about Mesopotamia, about the ancient Near East, about Egypt, when we managed to find an Egyptologist who would like to talk about their specialism.
And we can't keep bothering Maggie.
We can't keep bothering Maggie, no, poor one. And about the context in which the Bible was written. A lot of what Josh has been doing has been biblical based. That's because that's the kind of questions he gets asked. That was his initial specialism in academia before he became a Sumerologist. He has a very extensive background in Hebrew. So we deal with a lot of biblical stuff. No, we have no problem with people being religious, no problem with people being Christian. Neither of us take the Bible as being divinely inspired. So we will treat it as an historical text that should be considered in terms of genre and context. yeah, we're historians, and that's what the channel's for.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, so this question, I'm not, maybe it comes from more what I do on Skylar's channel. So one of the things that I think, we try to do on this channel is keep, in a way, some of the more, I don't know, vitriolic conversations. Is that a way? Like we try to do things that steer clear of more vitriolic conversations. Now those, go ahead.
No.
That's somewhat for Megan's sanity, also for mine, I suppose. But one of the things that does happen, I think, pretty regularly is that there is such a gross misunderstanding of the Bible as an ancient Near Eastern text. So, if you think about, I think about people, for example, at Hopkins or the University of Chicago, or up at Yale or wherever. Many Christians, right? Many people of different faiths at these institutions. Brilliant people of faith, and yet they all still view the biblical text as I do in its ancient Near Eastern context. Now they assign, depending on who they are, they may assign a faith position along with that, that views the biblical text theologically. No, that's not right, but that's not a good way of describing it. But they would say that they understand the biblical text in its ancient Near Eastern context, and take a faith position that says, understanding this all to be, let me give an example. Ezekiel 26, this passage that for some godforsaken reason is debated so much. Did Ezekiel get the prophecy wrong or not? Like, I have no idea why this is. I mean, I do know, but I remember going and I've said this before, but I remember going and speaking to a good friend of mine at the 🀭Support conference, one of the big ancient Near Eastern conferences that we go to, and he was saying, "Oh, so what's going on with your channel?" And I said, "Yeah, I just finished editing a video. It took me some time on Ezekiel 26." And he looked at me and he said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, there are people that disagree that Ezekiel, got the prediction of Nebuchadnezzar destroying Tyre wrong, right? And that the information wasn't correct." And he kind of looked at me. This is a very strong evangelical Christian, one of my best friends. And he said, are there people that debate that? So, it's not this isn't something that, I feel like what I run into is very similar, very consistent with what I grew up with. And I think it's that type of fundamentalist Christianity, or people that take similar approaches to the biblical text. I think those are the things that I think are, that can be very destructive. Please correct me if you think I'm saying anything that's incorrect here. So it can be very destructive to society, can be destructive to individuals, and a lot of it stems from, unfortunately, not understanding the Bible in its ancient Near Eastern context. And so I think it's an important thing for me to do, because I have this background in that, to be able to wed together in a way, these passages, to essentially, I would say, bring the audience, be it here or over on Skylar's channel or on Aaron Ra's channel or wherever, to bring that ancient Near Eastern background and the scholarship behind it in a palatable fashion to the audience. So with that being said, I think this is actually an important, that's a good segue. Did you want to say anything?
No, go for it.
I am getting ready to do a series on apocalyptic genre. So what is apocalyptic? Most people would say, say they understand, like the book of Revelation in the New Testament to be apocalyptic. Or they might talk about the book of Daniel, certain parts of the book of Daniel. But yeah, so it's a genre that's actually been difficult to sort of nail down its features, and so there have been a number of people, particularly in the past 50 years, that have gone rather in depth, definitely the past 100 years, that have gone quite in depth trying to understand apocalyptic genre. So what is it? What makes a text part of the apocalyptic genre? And how do we understand that text in light of that genre? So a perfect example of this is the book of Daniel, right? So when you people read through Daniel chapter 9, let's say, I heard this comment last night, Daniel chapter 9 predicts to the day the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ, either the date of his crucifixion or the date of his triumphal entry or whatever. That's just simply misunderstanding apocalyptic genre. And it's understanding a significant portion of the book of Daniel. And so, when you come to a biblical text in that way, where you're trying to understand it through like a prophetic historical lens, and you're looking at it to try to nail down some future event, these problems will arise. So what I'm going to do is using John Collins, I would say, is in a ways he's part of the tip of the spear when it comes to studying apocalyptic literature. He wrote a book. It's in its 3rd edition now, The Apocalyptic Imagination. And I'm going to use this sort of as a guide. I did this with Emmanuel Tove, his work on textual criticism. I've done this for a couple of our series. But I'm going to kind of use this as a guide and bring in other secondary literature and, of course, the primary sources as we go through. But I'm going to talk about what is apocalyptic genre, and then go through books like Daniel, go through Enoch, certain parts of Daniel, go through Enoch. Some of these major texts, Baruch, so anyway, without going into all the names here, but what we'll do is we'll go through highlight some of the features of these books as they pertain in particular to people's understanding of the Bible, and how we should be coming to books like Daniel. How should we understand that? If we're not to understand it as, Daniel predicting to the day the arrival of Jesus, and why is it then that people, it's going to be Jewish apocalyptic genre, or apocalyptic literature. Sorry. Iron Charioteer just asked, so I answered it on the fly there. If it's not trying to predict a certain day like that, what is its use? How do we recognize it? And what's a better way to interpret that so that we don't, I think, veer off into these bad interpretations? Okay.
So we have one question. We have one question about the apocalyptic series, but I also want to say we've had a couple of people, one person on this stream, and it's come up a few times on our Discord, saying that they'd like us to focus on things other than the Bible for a while. I know we've been very Bible heavy recently. Once Josh has done his apocalyptic series, we'll be going into other non-biblical Mesopotamian topics. I'm trying to persuade him to do some videos on Mesopotamian scribal education, because I think that's very interesting, and it's something that he worked a lot with for his dissertation. So don't worry if you're holding out for Mesopotamian stuff. There's more coming.
I see Jay Pasick in the side chat, and Jay, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm really sorry about that video. Skylar sent a link of it to me this morning, and that was terrifying, and I hope you're okay. I'm sure that you are. Jay is a tough as nails kind of guy, but that was really disturbing.
So yes, we'll be going back to Mesopotamian literature, history, culture once the apocalyptic stuff is done. My next video will be on plagiarism in the ancient world, also known as intertextuality. You'll find out why I hate the term plagiarism when used in this particular context. I think it's very anachronistic. Yes, there will be some biblical stuff in there, but it's primarily just looking at ancient literature. So Cadaver Splatter asks, do you think the apocalyptic genre was precipitated by the influence of the Persian Empire's Mazdaism, since it is also dualistic?
Yeah, we'll go into that a little bit, just because Collins has a section that he talks about that. And I don't know how much we'll go into it, the effects of dualism on it, but yeah, I don't. So this is the other thing that I find both wonderful and terrifying, perhaps, about doing something like this, is that there's no way. When I did my textual criticism series, I've taken textual criticism courses, I've done a lot of textual criticism, but it's such a vast and specialized field. That sounded counterproductive. Counterintuitive. Not, what am I thinking? Oxymoronic. Vast and specialized. Anyway, that there's just no way that I'm going to be able to, I'd have to write a dissertation in it to master it. At least that's how I feel, and even then Anyway, so something like this, going into apocalyptic genre that people have spent their careers working on, it's daunting, because being able to have answers, what do I think? What do I think about a particular thing? It's actually very difficult. Anyway, sorry.
We have a super chat. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, how are we doing those?
I don't know. I assumed we'd be doing Kent Hovind.
All right, we can do Kent Hovind. Yeah, sure. So intellectual iconoclasm for $10. Okay. Congratulations. To at least 90K more. Okay. So I think I can drink to that. Hopefully this is not alcoholic. Of course, I don't really know if I drink alcoholic beverages. Okay. I'm here to help. This isn't my wife. That's a picture of her.
Thank you, intellectual iconoclasm. We appreciate that. We have some other questions. Julio A. Cervantes saying he loves the channel, and also that he showed a friend of his my video on ancient aliens, and that his friend told him that he is brainwashed by the government and academia, and asking if we have any advice. Short of encouraging your friend to learn Sumerian.
Or to seek mental help. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
The problem is when people want to believe conspiracy theories, there's actually very little you can say or do to dissuade them of that. And
it's even broader than conspiracy theories. And I feel very comfortable saying what I'm getting ready to say because I was in it. But when you are raised to understand an ancient text in a certain way, it's incredibly difficult to dissuade someone from that. Even if you're not raised, even if you come to it for a different reason and you feel like you have discovered some secret knowledge, that only a select group is given access to, generally because of divine, the divine bestowing that ability upon you. Incredibly difficult to produce information, data points, or a competing model that better makes sense of the data points that will dissuade them from holding to that position. It's incredibly difficult.
One thing you can do, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, is encourage them to ask how they know the information that they are relaying is true. One of the things I found with the ancient alien stuff, if you actually sit down and very patiently go through it, it's mainly made up of coincidences and misunderstandings, or in some cases, deliberate deception. So encouraging your friends to just to think more critically, because if they're not believing what academia tells them, which is, fair enough, don't believe everything you're told, go and do the research yourselves. But it sounds like what they're doing is uncritically believing what the Ancient Aliens History Channel show is telling them. Encourage them to use the same critical lens on the History Channel that they do on academia, because that may help maybe to kind of get in the cracks and show that actually a lot of what is being used is either coincidence or it's completely, like, one of the things that I looked at in my Ancient Aliens video, there are lots of statues of people standing up with their hands around their waists, and these come from all different cultures, all different time periods, and this is used by Ancient Aliens to suggest of like one overriding ancient civilization. Well, if you think about it, actually just someone standing up with their hands at their waists isn't terribly specific. That's a Barbie doll. So does that mean that Mattel, who produced Barbie dolls, are also part of this ancient civilization?
Yes.
No. Or does it just mean that that's an easy position to sculpt, and it's a very general, like, this is how people stand? So that's how lots of people are going to be depicting humans. Good luck with that. That's really tough. We have another super chat.
Jay Pasick, for $10. Okay. Don't spend it all at once. A smiley face. Well, it's going to be very difficult, I think, to do that. I'd have to.
It might be spent all at once on a book.
Yep, probably.
If that's okay.
Thank you, Jay.
Most of our things are spent all at once on books. Cadaver Splatter. Have you gone through Sumerian texts found in 𝑒𝑏la? I ponder from time to time if there would have been native Sumerian speakers who lived there. I did look at 𝑒𝑏la very briefly in like my first or second year, and I'd require a lot more in-depth research to really engage with that. That's a nice idea, though.
I was reading something in the chat. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Have you read anything from 𝑒𝑏la, and were there native Sumerian speakers there, maybe?
Oh. 𝑒𝑏la is a field all its own. 𝑒𝑏lite has a lot of similarities to Sumerian, but it's not Sumerian. I wouldn't venture any further than that right now without. I feel like I'd get a kick in the pants from.
We get a stern email from someone.
Yeah, Professor Schwartz.
Josh,
what are you doing?
So Magnus Thirup Hansen, what do you think of the view that Japanese people are the direct descendants of the Sumerians, both in ethnicity and language? I would need to see a lot of very convincing research into that. We don't know what ethnicity the Sumerians were, so that's a massive problem in and of itself. And Sumerian is a language isolate. It's been posited that there are various connections to like Czech,
and there's a difference,
or Icelandic, or a whole load of different stuff. To my knowledge, none of those have actually been proven to be correct. So I suspect the answer is no.
And so this is the other thing that is actually very difficult. What does that mean, Sumerian, from an ethnicity standpoint? Because very quickly, the Sumerian problem is incredibly complex and hotly debated in and of itself, but very quickly, Sumerian and Akkadian would have become an intermingled. You wouldn't keep these, separate people groups. And anyway. Well, I don't even know what that would mean. Like descendant of what? Like there's a It's a very complicated issue.
And Magnus Thirup Hansen makes a good point going on from our conspiracy theory Ancient Aliens comment earlier. No one just decides actually the ancient Sumerian gods were aliens for no reason. What does believing that do for him emotionally or as a person? Which is a great point. The Ancient Aliens things, the like the Arthurian legends, the Atlantis myths, they capture people for various different reasons, and people get very invested in them being true. It's not just willful stupidity. People want things like this to be true. People who believe in aliens, who want there to be something else out there, want to take this information that they don't fully understand because they can't read Sumerian, they can't read Akkadian. They want to take that information and use it to provide themselves with the evidence that their own beliefs, their own wishes have some kind of factual basis. That's an excellent point. I'm just scrolling down to see if there are any more questions. Apparently Kent Hovens thinks a truck driver saw a pterodactyl while driving on the interstate.
Yeah, he did.
There we go. Wildheart666 provides us with another very useful piece of information. A quick tip about von Daniken. The answer to all of his questions is no. Are the Nazca lines ancient writings? No. And so on. An excellent piece of advice there. Cadaver Splatter. So he has apparently gone through the Eblatica. Do you know of any publications of the texts? The samples of the series are very scant, and I always forgot Eblite language because I have no text to practice on. Didn't Daniel? I know what he looks like. I can't remember his name. When there was the seminar at Hopkins, the red-headed dude. Didn't he work on Eblade? Time in Ancient Ebla.
Oh, Dan Fleming.
Yes, him. So look up Daniel. I mean, you probably know about him already, Cadaver Splatter.
I would also
have a
think
look at Daniel Fleming.
Yeah, ARET 13. I think I'm pulling that from. It's hot in here.
From your shorts.
From my shorts. That sounded.
It's very possible that there just hasn't been anything published yet, which is very unfortunate.
But don't. Yeah, we're not Ebla specialists.
No. Yeah.
So.
Magnus Therup Hansen sent us a super chat. I'm assuming that's Danish kroner.
Wow.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Magnus, please. For 50 kroner.
Yes, Magnus Therup Hansen for 50 krona. I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel. Okay? I'm here to help.
You're excellent. Michael Summers says, I can't read Sumerian and I can't read Japanese. Therefore, they must be the same language.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yep. Stephanie Wilson, before hieroglyphs were translated, people believed they would hold ancient secrets that would transform their world. They were sadly disappointed when the texts were translated.
I won that battle. They didn't win, but I did. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And the same thing happened with Sumerian and Akkadian, and especially with there being a flood narrative.
2 sheep, 1 goat. What?
Especially with there being a flood narrative, people got very, very excited.
Yeah.
When George Smith translated the first part of the flood narrative, and it was going to be this huge thing that was going to blow history wide open, and it did blow history wide open. It just didn't
Not in the same way.
Yeah, it wasn't the same. Do we know Amanda Podney?
Yeah,
not personally, but I have read her work.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
You
know what we need to do?
Yeah.
We just need to.
We need to have a meet and greet, an international online meet and greet, so we can just meet every single Assyriologist in the world.
Well, we need to reach out to more people, I think. Of course, we have to have time then. Once they say yes, they'll come on and do an interview.
Well, see, you say this, and I don't know if you were intending to lead into.
I obviously was.
Obviously was. We actually have a lot of interviews coming up in the next few months. Some are actually on the books. Some have been talked about but not actually scheduled. If you want to keep an eye on our upcoming interviews, go to digitalhammurabi.com/calendar Very handy, easy to remember. Next Saturday, we are talking, sorry, I'm just getting it up, talking to Matt Zazfran about pre-dynastic Egyptian palettes. He does experimental archaeology. He's recreated some of these pre-dynastic palettes, so we're going to talk about the creation and use of them. Interestingly, Matt is not a trained academic. This interview will show you what you can do research-wise without actually having gone through the very long, expensive process of getting a PhD. I'm looking forward to it. It should be interesting. Then the following Sunday, September the 8th, we're going to be talking to Sarah Moore, who's one of our HAPS scholars, and kind of get the lowdown.
So we've spoken to Sarah before, and now we're just going to speak to her
more. So we're going to chat to her about what she did with the HAPS money she was given, how her summer went. That will be very exciting.
You can tell when I run out of things to say. It's easy to pinpoint when that happens.
Then on September the 28th, we're talking to Paul Zimmerman, reanalyzing excavations. He's not active in the field anymore, but he did some work a while ago looking at how you can take old excavation reports, much like the ones Josh was talking about, that are maybe lacking in terms of scientific procedure and detail, and then reanalyze them using modern techniques to get more information out of them.
You turn them sideways.
You can turn them sideways.
Reanalysis.
So that is the month of September. We probably have more things coming up as well that I don't have on the calendar yet, but it's going to be an exciting month.
We are going to maybe at the same time, maybe after my apocalyptic series, I'm not sure, but we are going to pick back up the Mark van der Meerop series and go through that introduction to ancient Near Eastern history. So we'll complete that. Right.
Yep. And that's going to take a while because it's a very detailed book. It's an excellent book. But we will get back to it.
It's a VDB?
No. Guitar Dog says, I've heard the real Tower of Babel was during the reign of Nebuchadnezzar. I was under the impression that it was under the Old Babylonian Empire circa 1500 BCE. Do you know about this? So the Tower of Babel is a ziggurat in Babylon that would have stood for a long time and did still stand under Nebuchadnezzar. I think it's mentioned in the Bible as Nebuchadnezzar's building. He did a lot of extensive building work to the city of Babylon, which is probably why it's associated with him. But it was there well before his reign.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to nail that down. I think I haven't looked specifically at that, but and I'm trying to remember the name of the ziggurat.
It's Marduk's ziggurat, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was called.
I keep wanting to call it Atem and the Guru.
No.
Anyway. Sorry.
Magnus Thorpe Hansen is saying, didn't Nebuchadnezzar rebuild it? He rebuilt most of the city and did do building work to that particular ziggurat. I don't think it was completely in ruins. But the thing with Mudbrook is it needs rebuilding every 50 years or so, which always gives the kings things to build and rebuild and renovate, and there's always building work going on.
Because at 50 years, people start to get a little antsy and they start, hitting through, hitting buildings. You gotta rebuild them. See, that wasn't even worthy of.
Apparently, we give the impression that we get on very well, and this makes people happy.
Oh, you and I?
Mm-hmm.
I love you.
We do get on very well. We're very lucky. Very, very lucky. Cadaver Splatter. Is there any possibility that the word Navi in the Old Testament was transmitted through locations like Mari from the Sumerian word Na'abetu'a?
Oh. I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like these are... Josh, look these up.
Go.
They're presented as questions, but they're really like, Josh, go look this up. Yeah, that's interesting.
Shabby Hakmon. What are the chances of anyone finding Akkad anytime soon? Are there any leads to its location? Being such an important city, how come it was never found?
There was a guy that called in an anonymous tip, but it's gone cold.
So archaeologists think they know roughly where it is.
Earth. Gonna be quiet. Sorry, I'm not gonna be
but
quiet.
I don't know if there are any like serious leads or serious like locations. It is like on the top tier of things people would like to find one day soon.
You like me?
I do like you. As to how come it was never found, archaeology, which sites you find is largely up to where you get permits to excavate, where you find material that suggests you should excavate in that location. There are a lot of tells in Iraq. You can't really excavate them all because money is a thing, and people demand that you pay them for digging up old, ancient, ruined cities. They don't just do it out of the goodness of their hearts. I hope it's found soon because that would be absolutely spectacular, but I don't know if there are any issues. Yami Mizuki is asking if we actually object to being asked to look things up. No, it's just going to take us a while. It gets added to the bottom of a very long list. We will eventually get to these things.
No, I guess what I meant more was that people have to know. Well, maybe they don't have to know that. Maybe I just think this is how I think of myself. Certainly Josh isn't going to know the answer to this off the top of his head. But so
it's always worth asking.
Yeah. No, I love it. It keeps me sharper.
Frederico says, what do we think about the clay oriental tablets found in South America with the exact same subjects as those found in Babylon? I have never heard of them. I would need references and scholarly citations and preferably tablet numbers or museum numbers so I can look at them myself. I suspect they're probably fake or were looted from Iraq and then taken to South America.
You see a lot of that stuff. Sorry. I keep picking at my nails, which is what I do. Yeah, you actually do see that to some degree, the looting that takes place in Iraq and then brought back to the States or to the Americas.
So the ziggurat at Ur is Etemenanki.
Yeah, there you go.
Bobska II, hi, says it's fascinating about that ziggurat is that the bricks from the site were used by the Greeks under Alexander the Great to build a Greek theatre. I did not know that. That is interesting.
And it was in fulfillment of a prophecy.
It was not in fulfillment of a prophecy. You see, the thing is, you're going to say this stuff. Someone is going to watch it and clip just that section and use it to make a video called Dr. Josh Believes in Prophecy. Oh. I think you're very funny, though.
Am I?
Yes.
Him?
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry. Stephanie Wilson, isn't there some woman who used orbital satellites to find buried cities in Egypt? Yes, you're thinking of Dr. Sarah Parkak. She does a lot of it's called space archaeology, which I really enjoy. It's not archaeology in space. It's using satellites and aerial imagery to do archaeology from a distance. Yes, that is what she does. She's awesome. She's also on Twitter. If you want an amusing, interesting Twitter account to follow, she is at Indie from Space. And the fact that I know her Twitter handle off the top of my head is quite telling. Let me see. Cadaver Splatter. Sorry, as someone who has only completed undergrad, I don't know anyone else who studies Assyriology, so it's an outlet for my own research questions since I've done this on my own. You have absolutely no need to apologize. Your questions are always interesting and engaging.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm only sorry that we can't give you fuller answers. Let us see.
Slam RN. What can't I help?
Yami Yamizuki, why does everyone but the actual Assyriologists know that the Tower of Babel is Etemenanki? I don't know.
Because you guys have Google? I don't know.
Probably not. Sorry, everyone.
This has been good.
Any chance we will translate cuneiform for Hobby Lobby? Haha. No. No. Because they buy looted stuff and smuggle it. And I don't think that was a serious question, but no.
No.
Never, ever work for the Greens. Yes. I've actually caught up with the chat. What's the time?
Yeah, we're at an hour.
2:59. Okay, we're at the hour mark. Oh, I should probably do my announcement. Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
And then we'll end immediately.
Immediately, without taking any questions. That would be good. So if you are at all familiar with the channel, you'll know that I am a PhD student at the Johns Hopkins University studying Assyriology. I made the very difficult decision before the summer to withdraw from the program, which was not fun and is not something I do lightly because I love my field. And I was very much looking forward to actually getting a PhD one day.
You will.
And I will.
You will.
At some point. But it turns out that writing a dissertation and raising 3 kids is difficult. Yeah. So I thought that it was only going to take me another year to finish my dissertation. And then I had a meeting with my advisor and it became very clear that actually it would take more than a year. And frankly, I'm burnt out and was very depressed and didn't really want to be unhappy for the next 2, 3, 4 years. So I decided that withdrawing was probably the best option for myself, for my mental health, and frankly for my family, because I'm not a nice person to be around when I'm stressed and depressed.
You're always a nice person.
So yes, it's going through at the moment. I wanted to wait until everything was finalized before I said anything. Everything's going through, all the paperwork is done. I graduated this summer with another master's degree in Assyriology, so I have 2. Yay! And when we've stopped having children, when there are no babies at home anymore and everyone's at school, the plan is for me to go back and complete my PhD, do my dissertation. Yeah. So on the plus side, that means that I will have an awful lot more time to spend with the channel. I can spend time doing videos and making videos on interesting things that I enjoy. So you'll probably see more of me, and yeah, it's a good thing. I'm furious that I had to make the choice. Academia is not kind to people who are caregivers. I was given the option. So I should say my department's been fantastic.
Yeah.
My advisors both said that whichever way I decided to go, they would support me no end. And my primary advisor was very clear that he doesn't see withdrawing as a failure, which was nice because I kind of do. But the department has been fantastic. The university will not let me take more than 2 years leave of absence, which is enough time to get Oliver into school. But if we want to have any more children, then I would kind of be going back to school with a newborn. So don't really want to do that. So yes, for now, the PhD is on hold. Hopefully we will get back to it. And James Crow is saying, yay, more time with Megan. Perhaps we'll get to hear her say penis more often. I mean, what I really need to do is go back to Gwendolyn Like's eroticism book.
Yes, I agree.
Just talk about Mesopotamian penises all the time. Speaking of which, Dr. Like did actually email us and say thank you for making the videos about her book. So we're going to try and do an interview with her in September.
Isn't there an interesting part of her life?
There's a fascinating part of her life. She competed internationally as an Olympic weightlifter. Not in the Olympics, but she did Olympic weightlifting. Still does. She just doesn't compete.
For those of you that don't know what Olympic weightlifting is, which I'm sure most do, but
I didn't know what it was.
There are 2 lifts. One is called the snatch. The other is called the clean and jerk. And they're called Olympic lifts. So the snatch is where you grab the bar very wide, and in one motion you get it up over your head.
Yeah, it's super cool. There's a whole documentary about her online. If you Google Gwendolyn Like, L-E-I-C-K, the first thing that comes up is her weightlifting. Like, you have to search for her Assyriological work. I should also add, in case people have listened to the past 3 minutes of rambling, I am not pregnant. No, thank you if you were going to send your congratulations. I'm not
Because
pregnant.
you talked about pregnancy and eroticism, really.
Ooh, no.
Oh, yeah.
No, not quite. Yeah. So that no. I think I would cry a lot because Oliver is a very, very demanding 19-month-old. How my mother had 4 children under 4 and didn't lose her sanity, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so that's my big news. And thank you everyone for your kind words. I very much appreciate that. I'll go back to it. I will graduate one day.
You definitely will.
Yep.
No question.
And as a fun note, I have never actually attended any of my own graduation ceremonies. For my undergraduate and my first master's, I was working, I was out of the country working as a camp counselor in upstate New York. So I couldn't attend either of those. And then this master's graduation, I'm not even sure when it was, but I didn't go. So maybe my PhD graduation will be the one I finally attend. That'd be cool.
Sorry, I just read a comment. I attended one.
Did you?
So I doubt there was a ceremony for my associate's degree from the Community College of the Air Force. My bachelor's, I didn't go to. I went to my first master's, the one from seminary.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm sure there was one for there must have been one for the Hopkins master's. And then I didn't go to the Hopkins PhD one.
Yeah.
I'm a bad person.
I don't think so.
I'm introverted. Okay.
Anyway, that was really all we had to say. If you have any questions, pop them in the side chat. We will.
I think we're probably going to wind it down.
Yeah, but we're going to start winding down. I'm going to change into something a little more comfortable.
Yeah, me too. Because these bathing suit bottoms are very restricting.
There we go.
Yeah. What?
Nothing. Do you have anything coming up with Skylar?
Yes. What? I can't remember. Skylar and I are always looking, by the way. So I started to say this. We try to keep the more contentious things off of this channel.
Yeah, just go to Skylar's. It's great.
So a lot of times you actually see this if you look in the comments section of like the slavery videos that I've done, or Ezekiel 26 or the Daniel video. You'll see that people will come at me and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And my response is inevitably email skylarfictionshow@gmail.com. We'd love to have you come on and give us your opinions.
No one ever does.
No one ever does. It's bizarre.
Which is I think Skylar's quite sad about that, actually.
Yeah.
We need more, Magnus Therapanson is saying we need more bisexual lighting for our videos. I don't know what that means, but I like the sound of it.
Yeah, bisexual lighting. I have, like, there's nothing that I could do to make sense of that in my mind. Bye, Slam RN. Thank you for hanging out with us. And thank you for typing all the German in the side chat. I always like reading me some German. I need to keep up on that more.
You do. We need to find a German conversation group.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, if you want to talk to someone about contentious issues, email Skylar and Josh and he will talk to you. Rand is asking if there's a Sumerian word for tapestry or wool rug or similar. I like wool rug. That's nice. I don't know.
Every time I hear the word tapestry, I picture Indiana Jones. Tapestries?
I'm checking the EPSD for tapestry because I don't know.
John Peterson asks, how long till 100,000? Hey, that's up to you guys.
So there is nothing on the EPSD for tapestry, so it looks like there is probably not.
Is there one for wall fur?
I will check. Probably
gosh.
not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Oh, man.
No. No, there isn't.
Well, guys, thank you so much.
Oh, wait, sorry. I wanted to talk briefly about our new upload schedule.
Oh, right.
I'm going to put this in the community tab of the channel. So if you need to go back and check, you can do that there. We're going to start uploading videos weekly. I can't remember which order they're going to be in, but every month you will get a literary reading, Soothing Stories with Megan, a video from Josh, who knows what the hell on, really whatever he feels like, which at the moment is apocalyptic genre.
An apocalyptic rap.
Yeah, maybe a rap. I mean, we've done it before. Soothing Stories, apocalyptic genre. We will have one book club, because we miss those.
Yes,
and we
quite.
enjoy them. And really, I think the book clubs were my main penising location.
Yeah, if you want
To penis. Is that a verb? It is now.
to penis.
To penis.
Damn it.
And then the last week will be a video chosen whose topic is chosen by our patrons, and that's what I will do. Yes, we are doing something on Wednesday. Thank you, John Peterson. I'm glad you're here, sir. So on Wednesday, join us on the Raging Atheist channel to talk to Dr. Misha and Jerry Griffith and Kalon about Norse mythology, which will be fantastic because it's nothing either of us know anything about.
We did say eroticism slam RN. So Megan, if you haven't seen Megan, there's a book called Sex and Eroticism, Mesopotamian Sex and Eroticism.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the title.
It's something akin to that. And Megan has been going through and summarizing the chapters.
They're great chapters.
Yeah. So
so I'll get back to that.
But we have videos up on that.
Yep.
So Sex and Eroticism.
LT Galloway is asking about gaming with Megan. That is going to happen. I'm not going to schedule that because I have to be awake enough in the evenings to actually game and provide interesting commentary. But there will be more of that, I promise. And I will put it on the calendar at some point.
And she was at Aldi. We go to really high-end stores.
I like Aldi.
To get our things. Oh, I do too. I don't know that they would consider themselves high-end. No. But anyway.
But I like them.
I do.
They're pleasantly European.
Yes, quite. They keep their money like the Germans do. It's great. Anyway, oh, and she got a beanbag hand chair for gaming.
I did.
So
I did. So now, I can't use that though because it's not for PC. It's downstairs in the basement.
I think they're mobile though.
Yeah, but I'd be like the desk would be up here. I'd be like,
oh.
So you'd see my hands and not my face.
Damn it, Michael.
I am playing. What is it I'm playing?
Oh, the archaeology video.
It is an archaeology video game. I can't remember what it's called. That's awful. It's a great game. You're an archaeologist recreating ancient languages. So you're an archaeologist and a philologist. It's fantastic. I can't remember what it's called. Josh is going to find out because it's on this computer. Dun 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 dun.
Microsoft Word.
No.
It's not that.
It is not that.
People.
Nope. No.
Sticky notes?
Probably not. That's
what
awful.
Is this? Brazzers?
Can you minimize that window? I think the thing's on the desk.
I was just kidding about that last time. Where is it?
We can't remember what the game is because we're awful people. It's not Tomb Raider.
Spiritual Warfare.
No, that's your game.
That's my game.
That's his game.
It is here.
Yeah, so come and watch me play an archaeology video game. It might be on the other window. Vault of Heaven. Thank you, Yami. Yes, Vault of Heaven. It's a wonderful game. And I haven't played it since I last live streamed, which was at the beginning of the summer. So I've forgotten everything. Yes.
And I haven't played my Ancient Warfare, Spiritual Warfare game.
You really should.
Where I was throwing fruits of the spirit of people that turn them into demons or angels.
It was actually very amusing.
It was.
Yeah, so that's the plan going forward. We have Yeah, Pete Swan says, Aldi, if you want camembert and a bandsaw, then that's why I love it. Because sometimes I do want camembert and a bandsaw. I get so excited going down their randomness aisle.
It's our food and stuff.
It is our food and stuff. It's great. I know what the food's going to be. It's fantastic. I enjoy it very much. And then there's this aisle of just whatever the hell they feel like. It's it's amazing. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. So, am I familiar with William Dumas of Biblical Archaeology? I am not. How historically accurate is the Scorpion King? Not at all.
Except for the rock part.
But very amusing.
That was really
very
accurate.
Amusing. Yeah, so the new schedule going forward, 1 video a week. Literary reading, random video from Josh, book club, and Patreon video from me. If you feel like contributing to our Patreon and therefore getting to choose what topic my video is on, it's digitalhammurabi.com. No, it's not. It's patreon.com/digitalhammurabi. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already done so. This has been an awful lot of fun. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah.
Check the calendar. We have 2 live streams next week, which will be very exciting. Yeah, that's everything. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all soon.
Until next time, resist poor scholarship. Always ask.
How do you know that?